Bruno Fernandes with his first minutes of the pre-season, some good connections there according to reports of those who saw this game closely with Tielemans. And Rob Dawson is one of those people who will have had a close eye on this and a close eye on Manchester United with the season that is coming up. All talk that I'm seeing across all the papers that I'm reading and from all of these games that we are seeing in the pre-season, Rob, is that there are positive signs right now for Manchester United and a feeling of cautious optimism.
Yeah, but we seem to say that every summer, don't we? When there's pre-season games, everyone can find positives. I think the results have been okay. We're only just starting to see the guys who were at the World Cup come back into the squad, and so it's a little bit of a mishmash of players. It's not the team that Michael Carrick is going to start with on the first day of the season, but there has been some positive signs. Brian Mbeumo scored again today. He scored against Atletico Madrid as well. So that's one positive. They've had players like Harry Maguire has come through a couple of games and has looked okay. I think you're only really going to see the real signs though when the Premier League season kicks off, when they have that first game against Hull City, because it's all well and good being positive now when we're starting pre-season, but it's when the real stuff starts that the fans want to see some real progress. Okay,
let's talk a little bit about areas that need addressing then as we look at the possible Manchester United starting 11 for the season ahead. Is the defence an area that needs to be looked at?
Well, I think you could argue that they need players in every position. They've got issues at centre-half with players like Matthijs de Ligt, who we haven't seen since November. If he's fit, he probably plays, but he's just not fit at the moment. You've got Lenny Yoro in there, who's still a very young player. You've got issues at left-back. Luke Shaw played every game last season, but with United being in the Champions League now next season, they're going to need more players, more depth to that squad, because you can't, with Luke Shaw's injury record recently, you can't assume that he's going to play 3 games a week, so perhaps you need another left-back. You also probably need more depth in midfield. I think lots of Man United fans were expecting a marquee midfield signing to replace Casemiro, and while they've signed André Santos and Youri Tielemans, 2 good signings on paper, they haven't had that marquee signing. And then you're looking at the forward line. You could argue that they need more strength in depth in that front 3, particularly at centre forward, where at the moment, if Benjamin Sesko is fit, your number 2 is Joshua Zirkzee, who just hasn't performed very well in the Premier League. So there are issues everywhere, really. I mean, we've still got a couple of weeks left of the transfer window, and United will hope to address some of that. But there does appear to be a lot of work to be done to that squad. Yeah,
Rob just mentioned it there. It's going to be a heavier schedule with Champions League football to factor in as well, Stevie.
Yeah, and right now, Manchester United players will not be thinking about that. That's something that's going to hit them when they start getting into the season, because they're used to just playing 1 game a week last season. And you kind of forget how difficult it is when the games start piling up when you're not involved in it. And so they're expecting to be as sharp. I mean, particularly going forward. I agree with Rob. I think their biggest problem is defensively. They lost way too many goals last year, and it doesn't look like they're going to make any signings, which means Michael Carrick is going to have to get them on the training field. But in terms of going forward, they were able to recover and then be sharp for the next game last season. And so going forward, Cunha and Mbeumo, Fernandes, even Sesko at the end of the season, they all looked really sharp from when Carrick took over right the way through the end. They're going to find that difficult when they start playing FA Cup, League Cup, European Cup. I mean, so this is the big problem I think they're going to have. 1, defensively, they need to make signings, which I don't think they will. And going forward, are they going to have the sharpness in the legs that they showed us towards the end of the season under Carrick? I don't think that will be there every time they step on the field.
Now, before I come to Ale on this player, I want to get the lowdown from you first, Rob. Marcus Rashford set to be reintegrated into the squad under Michael Carrick. How is this going to work?
Well, that's the golden question, Kay, to be honest. There are awkward elements to this. I think United at one stage last season assumed that Barcelona were going to trigger his option to make that move permanent. Obviously, that has not happened. In the absence of any other offers, and there hasn't really been anything concrete put United's way, Marcus Rashford has to return to the United squad to prepare for the new season. He's going to do that in Dublin at their training camp this week. They've got a game against Leeds in Dublin on Wednesday. He could possibly play. If he does play in that game, it would be his first appearance in a United shirt since a Europa League tie against Victoria Pilsen in December 2024. Obviously signed for Aston Villa on loan quite shortly after that in January 2025. In the subsequent 18, 20 months, United have given his squad number away. His number 10 shirt has gone to Matheus Cunha. There's also issues with the fans, how they are going to receive this news. There was lots of fans, quite a large element of the fan base, who thought at the time that it was the right time to move on from Marcus Rashford. They weren't particularly happy with some of his attitude issues off the pitch. Ruben Amorim certainly wasn't happy with his attitude away from off the pitch. There are some United fans who think that he deserves a second chance, that he played quite well at Barcelona. He's done all right for England at the World Cup, and United can't turn down the opportunity to have good players back in that squad. So it's going to be very, very interesting. If Marcus Rashford does come back to United permanently and he is part of Michael Carrick's squad for this new season, what kind of reception he's going to get from the fans, because I think at best right now it's going to be mixed. But
with Michael Carrick, let's talk about the difference there, because obviously this isn't Ruben Amorim that's dealing with the player now.
Yeah, I mean, and that is one of the big bonuses for Man United, because if Ruben Amorim was still in charge of Man United, you couldn't really see a path back for him. Well, Amorim left in January. He's been replaced by Michael Carrick. Usually new managers come in and give every player in the squad a clean slate. It's a little bit different with Michael Carrick because he'll know Marcus Rashford well. They were teammates together under Louis van Gaal. Michael Carrick was a coach also under Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who both were in charge of Marcus Rashford. So if there's anyone that can get the best out of Marcus Rashford and build bridges with him, you assume it's Michael Carrick. So his path back into the first team is smoothed a little bit by that. I think the big issue that Marcus has got is going to be with the fans. That obviously will go away very, very quickly if Marcus Rashford comes in and he starts scoring goals, because fans forgive anything if a player is playing well. But really the onus is on Marcus Rashford to get back in at Man United, to train well, if he's picked, to play well and win the fans over, because ultimately I don't think that he thought that he was going to be here. You know, a year ago when he signed for Barcelona on loan, the statement that he put out at the time was all about how he was closing the chapter at Man United. It'd been great to play for his boyhood club and come through the academy, but that was kind of in the rearview mirror. Well, 12 months on, I don't imagine for a second he thought that he was going to be back at Man United training and playing and possibly trying to restart his career there.
But he's back as La Liga title winner with Barcelona, and it was a title win that he played his part in too, Ale.
He did, and according to the reports and what we have heard from Hansi Flick, he was a model citizen. He was a guy that was appreciated by his teammates and by Barcelona fans, and there was a freedom to Marcus Rashford when he was playing at Barcelona. There was a smile on Marcus Rashford. He was enjoying himself, which then begs the question, why are you going back? Why are you going back into what was obviously a place that could have been great, and it certainly wasn't, and by the end you were being pushed out the door. And so now he is back, and yes, Rob just mentioned, yeah, it is awkward. But I suppose that if you're looking for reasons as to why this is going to work, is because there is a maturity now to Marcus Rashford that I think perhaps wasn't there a few years ago, because this profession will force you to mature if you don't allow it, or if you allow it to happen, it'll force you to mature. And certainly when you have gone through the experience that he has gone through, you have to imagine that he has grown up. Also, the fact that Michael Carrick is present there, not just because he was his teammate, but because he was also his assistant coach. And see, you develop relationship with assistant coaches, and the assistant coaches, they're hearing both things. They're hearing the players, but they're also hearing what's going on inside closed doors when the managers are meeting and when the coaches are meeting. And so he knows what the shortcomings of Marcus Rashford were in the eyes of a manager. He has been on that side, but he has also been on the side in which he has been his teammate. If he's able to put all of that together, and it's a complex package to put together, I do believe that there is something here for Marcus Rashford to take advantage of, and for Manchester United to take advantage of Marcus Rashford and understand that this guy still has something to give, still has productivity in him. If you don't believe me, just watch what he did at Barcelona. Coming off the bench, the guy was a difference maker. He can be the same thing for Manchester United.
So let's talk about the expectations that will be placed on United for the season ahead, Rob. What's the bare minimum that's expected of them?
Well, the bare minimum will be to qualify for the Champions League again. It was a big thing for them to get back into the competition this season, finishing third under Michael Carrick. The bare minimum for them will be to repeat that and finish in the top 4 or top 5 if that's what it takes to get in the Champions League. I think the fans will want runs in the domestic cup competitions. You just flashed up a graphic there. They were knocked out very, very early in both the FA Cup and also the Carabao Cup last season. They only played one game in both competitions, and United fans will expect this team to go deep in at least one of those competitions. I think the club would want them to qualify in the Champions League. maybe not finish in that top 8, but at least get through to a playoff, play a knockout round, maybe even get to the last 16 in the quarterfinals. I don't see that this Man United squad, as it sits right now before the transfer deadline, can get any further than that. I don't see that they're anywhere near challenging for the Premier League title right now. If you look at the genuine contenders like Arsenal and Man City, you know, they're streets ahead in terms of the strength of their first 11s and also the strength of their squad. So I think if United can finish in the top 4, qualify for the Champions League again, have a run in the domestic cup competitions, Michael Carrick will be very, very keen to do well in those competitions, maybe even win one. It always does wonders for a Man United manager to collect a piece of silverware and then maybe get to the next summer transfer window and start building again to get towards the likes of Man City and Arsenal, because right now I just don't see that they're genuine contenders for this Premier League title.
Is that realistic, what Rob's laid out there, Stevie?
I think Rob's pretty much spot on, yeah. Yeah, they don't have enough to challenge. We've sat here and talked about what they're going to have in the legs going forward and what they're going to be doing defensively. So, yeah, Champions League is a must. And if Manchester United can be smart enough to look at the long term, then, you know, don't get carried away if things don't start great for Man United under Carrick. If they do that and stick with them, then I must admit, I think they will be in the top 4.